All right, this is video 4 of Siddhartha Chapter 5. Siddhartha just spoke with Kamala, and now we're going to talk about it a little bit and then continue, and hopefully we might be able to finish the chapter. I think we'll have 2 more videos. So first, let's talk about Siddhartha. Why is he able to turn his life around so quickly here? One is because he's a Brahmin. And he's taking advantage of that still. While Siddhartha says that he is becoming himself, he still uses the fact that he's a Brahmin. Okay, your Brahmin is the highest caste. Okay, so he's really not in danger most of the time because people are scared of Brahmins. They're taught that if they kill a Brahmin, that they will be reincarnated into a low being. They will have really bad karma. Also, he has a lot of education. So it's easy for him to turn his life around here in a certain way. Now, I'm not saying that anyone could turn their lives around. As we saw with Govinda maybe would have a more difficult time. But that is part of what Siddhartha is experiencing here. So Brahmin privilege, or in my country, we could say white privilege. It doesn't mean you're guaranteed success, but it definitely gives you a privilege. And that's not fair. That is not fair. Okay, but it's a reality that we need to think about when we analyze society. Also, Siddhartha has education, and he is very, very intelligent, to the point where sometimes he feels like he's better than everybody because he's really, really smart. But we remember that from the beginning, right? He does everything well. Do you know someone like this? They're very irritating. So he's catching on very quickly. And we're seeing that when you have true education, when you truly know how to read, write, and think, and you know how to learn, when you have a disciplined mind, it doesn't mean you do everything perfectly, but you basically know how to learn. That can get you very far in life. And also, there's one last part, and we're going to see it here in a second. Don't act like you're below people. That can give you a privilege as well, and we'll talk about that today. All right, so Siddhartha's done with Kamala, and she says, you need to get out of here because I have a customer coming, and they can't see you. Okay? However, she ordered the servant to give the holy Brahmin a white gown without quite knowing what was happening. So what does this mean, without quite knowing what was happening? This is describing a mindset while things are happening. Notice how we use this. This is very useful. Without quite knowing what was happening, Siddhartha was led away by the servant. This is almost an adverbial sentence to talk about how the verb is happening. So without quite knowing what happened, someone led me to my classroom in the school. What does this mean? I don't exactly know where I'm going. They're just leading me. I don't even know what's happening. Can you picture this? Without quite knowing what was happening, Siddhartha was led away by the servant, conducted by a circuitous route to a garden house. Conducted means to be led along. It can also mean to drive a train, to conduct a train, or an orchestra, to conduct an orchestra. To conducted by circuitous route, this means not straight. Around here, circuitous route, to a garden house. Presented with a gown. They presented it to him. They showed it to him, and he took it. The implication is that he took it. We're getting into English here. Let into a thicket. He was led, but kind of allowed to be in a thicket, which is kind of a bush. So you kind of have to get through it. It's not very comfortable. And expressly instructed. This means directly and strongly instructed. Expressly instructed to leave the grove unseen as quickly as possible. So let's go through it again. She says, get out of here without being seen, right? But she says to her servant, give him a white gown. So the servant takes him without quite knowing what happens. Siddhartha is led away by the servant, conducted by a circuitous route here, there, so no one sees, to a garden house, presented with a gown, let into a thicket, and expressly instructed to leave the grove unseen as quickly as possible. Okay, contentedly, not just easygoing, aramse, he did what he was told. Accustomed to the forest, he made his way silently out of the grove and over the hedge. So we could almost use here, accustomed to the forest, we could almost use, because he was accustomed to the forest, he made his way silently. Or being accustomed to the forest, he was able to make his way silently out of the grove. That's how we're using English here. It's good to notice this. Accustomed to the forest, he made his way silently out of the grove and over the hedge, a thick line of bushes. Contentedly, he returned to the town, carrying his rolled up gown under his arm. He's not even wearing it. He stood at the door of an inn where travelers met, silently begged for food, and silently accepted a piece of rice cake. This is what he's accustomed to doing. He begged. Perhaps tomorrow, he thought, I will not need to beg for food. He was suddenly overwhelmed with a feeling of pride. He was a samana no longer. It was no longer fitting that he should beg. He gave the rice cake to a dog and remained without food. So there's something to this. One, it says pride. I don't know the German word, what it meant here in the original. But in a way, pride is respecting yourself. And when you respect yourself, in a way, you could say you don't beg when you don't need to. But also, he was proud of himself for the steps he was taking along his journey. When we make a decision in life, and we decide for ourselves what we're going to do, no matter we're going to try it. We're going to try something. There's a pride we feel. We feel joy, even though we're going through difficulties. We feel joy at accomplishing things. And this is something to remember as you think about going off to college, as you choose your way, or as you try a new thing. You will feel joy from the little things you do. And you can't buy this. This is something that you just get. But he decides not to beg anymore. The life that is lived here is simple, thought Siddhartha. It has no difficulties. Everything was difficult, irksome, just kind of irksome, and finally hopeless when I was a samana. Now everything is easy as the instruction in kissing which Kamala gives. Now notice, is it easy to be hungry? We would not think of it as easy, but we'll keep that in mind. Why does Siddhartha think it's easy? Notice throughout the rest of this chapter what Siddhartha finds easy and what others find easy. And they're two different things. And we can learn from this. We can't take this totally serious. This is a fiction book, but there are some truths here. I require clothes and money. That is all. These are easy goals which do not disturb one's sleep. Does money and clothes disturb your sleep? It sure disturbs mine. It disturbs mine a lot, but it doesn't disturb him. He says these are easy things. He had long since asked about. He had long since inquired about Kamala's townhouse. A long time ago, or he asked about Kamala's townhouse and called there the next day. Things are going well, she called across to him. Kamaswami expects you to call him. He is the richest man in town. We don't know who Kamaswami is, right? But she had already said that it's good that he knows how to read, that she thinks she will be able to find a job for him. So this Kamaswami must be the person with this job. Kamaswami expects you to call on him. He is the richest merchant in the town. If you please him, he will take you into his service. Be clever, Brown Samana. What does clever mean? It means quick thinking. And we know Siddhartha is clever. Be clever, Brown Samana. I had your name mentioned to him through others. Be friendly towards him. He's very powerful. But, this is key, but do not be too modest. I do not want you to be his servant, but his equal. Otherwise, I shall not be pleased with you. Kamaswami is beginning to grow old and indolent. He's getting old. If you please him, he will place great confidence in you. She's saying he will need someone that's clever and doesn't let him talk down to them. Siddhartha thanked her and laughed. And when she learned that he had not eaten that day, Nor the previous day she ordered bread and fruit to be brought to him and attended him. You have been lucky, she said to him on parting. One door after the other is being opened to you. How does that come about? Have you a charm? She notices she's doing things for him and she's kind of surprised by it. And everything's opening for him. All these doors are opening for him, meaning opportunities. Siddhartha said, yesterday I told you I knew how to think, to wait, and to fast. He said this, right? And we talked about how important that is. Think, wait, and fast. But you didn't consider these useful. But you will see these are very useful, Kamala. You will see that the stupid samanas, he's saying this sarcastically, the stupid samanas in the forest learn and know many useful things. The day before, I was still an unkempt, means like if I'm like this, I'm unkempt and my hair is like, that's called unkempt. I was still an unkempt beggar. Yet yesterday I already kissed Kamala, and soon I will become a merchant and have money and all those things which you value. Pretty confident, huh? Quite, she agreed. But how would you have fared without me? Where would you be if Kamala did not help you? So she's saying, oh, you're saying you're so great, but if I hadn't helped you, would you be there? My dear Kamala, said Siddhartha, when I came to you in your grove, I made the first step. It was my intention to learn about love from the most beautiful woman. From the moment I made that resolution, I also knew that I would execute it. I would make it happen. I knew that you would help me. I knew it from your first glance at the entrance of the grove. Quite something to say, huh? Siddhartha thinks very highly of himself. Now, he hasn't been proven wrong so far. But he thinks very highly of himself. He thinks of other people as like children, and he can play with them. Some people are this smart, right? But it's a little bit scary. I don't see a lot of love in this. That's one thing I'm not seeing here with Siddhartha. And if I had not wanted to do it, said Kamala, but you did want. Listen, Kamala, when you throw a stone into the water, so now he's giving a metaphor, okay? When you throw a stone into the water, it finds the quickest way to the bottom of the water. You throw a stone, it goes bloop, and hits the bottom. It is the same when Siddhartha has an aim or a goal. Siddhartha does nothing. He waits, he thinks, he fasts. But he goes through the affairs of the world like a stone through water, without doing anything, without bestirring himself, without bothering himself. He is drawn and lets himself fall. He is drawn by his goal. His goal, when he makes that intention, it draws him. He is drawn by his goal, for he does not allow anything to enter his mind which opposes his goal. That is what Siddhartha learned from the Samanas. It is what fools call magic, and what they think is caused by demons. Nothing is caused by demons. There are no demons. Everyone can perform magic. Everyone can reach their goal, his goal, if he can think, wait, and fast. Kamala listened to him. She loved his voice. She loved the look in his eyes. Perhaps it is as you say, my friend, she said softly. Perhaps doesn't mean it is. She's saying maybe. Perhaps it is as you say, my friend, she said softly. And perhaps it is also because Siddhartha is a handsome man. Because his glance pleases women that he is lucky. Okay, Siddhartha is a very good-looking guy. And maybe this is why he gets what he wants. Could be. Siddhartha kissed her and said goodbye. May it be so. May it be so, my teacher. May it be as you say, my teacher. May my glance always please you. May my good fortune always come to me from you. So, what do you think of Siddhartha? He's very proud, right? He's very sure of himself, and he gets what he wants. There is something to what he's saying, right? If we were talking together, we could discuss this, but I will just talk here. He does get what he wants, and some of this is because of his singleness of vision. He doesn't stray from what he wants. And he's very calm. He's very calm. He's all right. He doesn't mind being hungry. He's not worried. He can deal with difficulties. This makes him calm. There is something to this. We talk about people that are great, that focused on their goal and met their goal. We know people like this, right? And yoga and things like this, it can teach you this, to not be so worried about the other things that pop up in your mind. But I'm not sure that I agree with what he's saying. So let's not say that we have to agree. Let us not say that we have to agree with everything. Let's listen, because this is Hesse's. This is the key to this, and this is what I want to teach regarding literature. This is the writer's vision. Okay? So the writer can tell horrible things, and what you want to look for is, what is his view of the world? And you also want to get something out of the book as well. There's some things that aren't just about what the writer is teaching, but the writer might believe Siddhartha's right here, or he might be just presenting Siddhartha in a certain way. We don't know. So create some hypotheses in your mind, some ideas of what you think is going on. Do you think Siddhartha will change as he gets older? Do you think maybe he'll become more humble? Do you think he's right? Do you think this is how the world works? If you are strong enough that you can just get whatever you want? I don't know. You have to decide. But ultimately, Hesse will decide, because Hesse wrote this book, right? And we're reading it right now. All right. So we're through with chapter 5. I have something I'd like to ask of you. Like and subscribe to this. It really helps me to get noticed on YouTube so that I can keep creating this. Comment also. I want to hear what you think. Okay, tell me what you think. Do you think Siddhartha is a good person? What do you think of this Brahmin privilege? What do you think of... Is he learning love? He's going to a prostitute. Is that love? The first woman would have loved him without being paid, right? That might have been more love than this. What do you think? So comment there, and then go to RJK English and post a question there so that I can answer. Okay? It's great spending time with you, and I will see you next time.